Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of the 2023 film Wonka. I believe this is like a loose prequel to the 1971 film. So we start off with Wonka coming to this city to start selling his chocolate. We get flashbacks throughout the film about his mother and how it was kind of like a dream to sell chocolate from childhood of his. So he ends up basically kind of losing all his money, what little he had. And because he can't read, he gets swindled into this basically slave contract by these hotel people, these launderers or whatever, with these other people. He makes a plan to start selling his chocolate, but he gets into basically into it with the chocolate cartel, which is led by Slugworth. And they end up getting the chief of police on it, who gets progressively fatter the entire film, which is funny as hell. Wonka ends up enlisting the help of the other basically enslaved people, the prisoners, to start selling chocolate. Meanwhile, he's got to pay a debt to Lofty the Oompa Loompa, as he stole 4 cocoa beans from the Oompa Loompas, and he's got to pay him back 1,000-fold, whatever. Wonka ends up successfully opening a shop. Unfortunately, the cartel ends up getting the launderers to poison the chocolates, which sets the people against Wonka, which forces him to make a deal with the cartel to pay off the debts of his fellow workers if he'll leave, which he does. Although they try to assassinate his ass by blowing up a boat. Just because they're dealing in chocolate doesn't mean they ain't willing to catch a body. They're still the cartel. So Wonka realizes that Noodle, who is the orphan that he's befriended and is helping him teach him to read, because he can't fucking read. Which is sad, but also, I guess not unrealistic for, I guess, maybe the time it's set in. I don't know what time it's set in. Realizes that Noodle he realizes that she's related to Slugworth. So the group of prisoners basically end up breaking into the chocolate cartel's secret vault, which is under a church, because they're bribing the church cleric, priest or whatever, with chocolate, which is like, damn, bro, you're selling your soul for some chocolate. I understand, but still, better be good chocolate. They end up trying to kill Wonka and Noodle, but Lofty saves the day because he still ain't got his damn chocolate, bro. Wonka can't kick the bucket until he gets his cut. Wonka ends up giving the people the cartel the chocolate that makes them, called hover chews, which makes them float. He hands it to him by saying it's the best chocolate he ever made, and they need to give it to the 8-inch little orange man, knowing that they wouldn't believe that Lofty exists and that they'd eat the chocolate themselves. And they do. So they escape and basically flood the city with chocolate and expose the cartel's crimes, which gets the chief of police arrested. Everybody goes back to their lives, and Noodle gets reunited with her mother, who has thought Noodle was dead since she was a baby. As Slugworth, her uncle, said her mother brought the baby Noodle to Slugworth, her uncle, so she could get help. He agreed, but then just threw her down in a laundry chute, which the launderer found to be found by the launderer lady. It ends with everybody, the launderers, getting arrested, and Wonka buying an abandoned castle to create his factory, with Lofty the Oompa Loompa being the new head of taste. Overall, this one it kept the same whimsy, I feel, as the other two had. I don't think this film would have really worked if it didn't have the whimsy. I don't think I really felt it as much as the other ones, though, so, yeah. Also, the songs were really more miss than anything. The plot was solid, though. It was fun. I kind of feel like this would have worked better if it didn't have the Wonka, attached to it. Like, this film could have probably been a whole lot better in a vacuum of itself, without the music. Maybe. I don't know, it just kind of feels weird because you can't not compare this to the 1971 film and the 2005 film. You just can't. And I don't think it really stacks up to either of those films, but that's just really my opinion. It's a good film, though. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Maybe a low 7. But still a 7. 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video.